Hey, Al McCoy here, and you are listening to the Solar Panel, the Phoenix Suns Show.
Appreciate you watching the Sun Solar Panel podcast here on YouTube. We have Mr. Dave King, managing editor of Bright Side of the Sun.
YouTube!
All right, we also have Mr. Greg Esposito. He used to do something for the Suns. Now he's just a dude with a microphone and a podcast.
And a webcam.
A really nice webcam, too. I'm Tim Tompkins, by the way. Greg and I both upgraded our webcams because we appreciate the quality of the show.
Dave's still trying to figure out what a webcam is.
It actually looks like I'm recording in 1956. I love it.
Dave's like, what's this webcam you guys speak of?
All right, Lon, shut up.
So... yes, we are a Phoenix Suns show. There has been some Phoenix Suns-ish things to go on around the league this week that are positive. I figure we'd start out with that because there's not a lot of positivity around the Suns right now. Channing Frye has announced that he is going to retire in his 5 seasons with the Suns. 2009 to 2014, he averaged 11.6 rebounds, 1 block per game, shooting 39% from 3 on 5 attempts.
For this team, that'd be like superstar.
I mean, for that team, it basically was the superstar. I mean, if he would have, if his peak would have been, you know, like right around now in the NBA, imagine the impact he would have had. I mean, he's straight up a Brook Lopez style player. But yeah, him and
actually Lopez is Channing Frye style. But it's been so long since Channing was that guy. For Steve Nash, people forgot.
Channing's an all-time great good guy too. It was unfortunate the heart condition came up. Well, the heart condition and then the way he was treated. That was overall it was just unfortunate. I wish Channing nothing but the best. I hope he finds something in retirement that he'll enjoy. He had all-time great podcaster too, like the road tripping with him and Richard Jefferson. He's got options in retirement, so I'm happy for him. And
does he drink wine in his podcast?
Oh,
isn't that a big thing for him?
They have fun on their podcast. Unlike here, they enjoy themselves. So
we're doing this at 7 a.m., so it's not like this is wine and beer time. But I guess we could change up our lifestyle.
That would be funny if you guys were drinking. 7 a.m. just showing up. One of the guys I used to podcast with used to smoke like weed while we were podcasting.
Well, you're on the vaping. You're vaping.
Yeah, there's a big difference between smoking weed and vaping, all right? I'm just getting my nicotine fix because I've had a hard time kicking nicotine my entire life, right? But this guy, we record at like 8 or 9 o'clock in the morning, and he'd be smoking pot while we're recording, and it would make me so angry.
Was he Bill Walton?
I'm not gonna.
Would you get high?
Would
you get high from the secondhand smoke? Yeah.
Dave, how old are you?
It's not like it comes through the webcam or the mic.
It would just make me so mad because, you know, you put a lot of pride into your work, and nothing against pot, it's fine. But then, you know, people's takes while they're high sound like they're high making basketball takes. You know, can I also say that I was watching the Glorious Pelicans game, and they cut to Eddie Johnson, and he took a sip of his drink, and let me just say that was not water.
Hey, you leave Eddie alone.
I'm sure it was just tea or apple juice or something like that.
You say that about Tom Chambers, I might nod in agreement, but you say that about Eddie, I say you leave him alone.
I saw a little clip of the pregame, and they had the Dos Equis beer cans lined up because that was a sponsor, you know, the sponsor of the pregame show and stuff. You know, they've been drinking those things.
Well, you know, that's great genius there by Suns marketing partnerships when you put the guy who's been arrested for DUIs with a bunch of beer cans in front of him in the pregame show.
Well, he was probably going to have beer cans with him anyway. So nothing. No, Tom. No, I'm not making any judgments, Tom.
I'm not making judgments either. I'm saying just don't put the guy where it's a bad look for him, you know.
And in other Suns news around the league, sort of Suns-ish news, Eric Bledsoe signing a 4-year, $70 million contract with The Bucks, I was just thinking, man, to be the most average point guard, that guy has made so much goddamn money.
The only thing I thought of when I saw that is Malcolm Brogdon, come on over.
I think the Bucks can afford to keep everybody, but
really? You think they can afford to keep everybody? I don't think.
Well, they have rights on everyone, so they can re-sign everybody they have. They had $67 million in cap space, if I remember off the top of my head. That Eric Bledsoe signing takes off, what, 15, 16? They still have to keep Chris Middleton.
They have rights on everybody, but that's expensive. Then you get into luxury tax.
Right. Well, they are the number 1 team in the league.
Yeah. So that totally convinces every owner to overspend on the future.
Unless you're Robert Sarver.
No, actually, most owners won't do that. I mean, that's why you see half the trades at the trade deadline is to get people under a luxury tax threshold.
Well, we'll see. Maybe they decide that they don't want Malcolm Brogdon, and the Suns can take him. I think that there was a time in which the Suns could have just drafted someone like a Malcolm Brogdon. Doesn't matter.
There was a time.
So Alvin Gentry had made some positive comments.
But the Suns got Devon Reed, I think.
Oh, was that the draft?
I think so.
Oh yeah.
Hold on a second.
Maybe I'm
wrong. We're not even going to comment on Eric Bledsoe. You're just going to throw out that you think he's average and has made too much money, and then we move on.
Yeah,
like,
he has made a lot of
crap?
money.
4 years, $70 million is not astronomical for a guy who has impact like Eric Bledsoe. Right now, we would kill for a guy like Eric Bledsoe on the Suns. A serviceable point guard. Who would have guessed?
Oh, actually, man, when Eric Bledsoe was here, he was disdained just as much as any other Suns player, if not more.
I'm not saying he wasn't upset about certain things here, but he played well at least. We don't have anybody that played
until the
well
end
from a point guard. Well,
he was okay
at that point.
I mean, what kind of success did he really bring the team? To be perfectly honest.
Okay, well, you could argue that about Devin Booker right now.
I believe I have.
He has been.
You could argue that about anybody that's been on this roster in the last 10 years. All right, so that, I mean,
55 players have been Devin Booker's teammates. Alvin Gentry won up that. He's like, I've had 66 in my tenure with the Pelicans around Anthony Davis. So a lot of teams have a lot of turnover. Hey, let's talk. If we have time, can we talk about the difference in team building between the Pelicans and the Suns?
And by difference, you mean
the Pelicans have a superstar and the Suns don't?
Because I wouldn't say that. In fact, I would probably point to more similarities between team building around their stars than differences. But
yeah, well, obviously coming up short around the superstars. If you count Devin Booker as a guy to build around, I'm not calling him a superstar, but if you count him as a guy to build a roster around, like the Pelicans did around Anthony Davis, there's a basic difference on how the Suns to date have tried to build their team, which is the Suns tried to do it through the draft, and starting a number of 19-year-olds a year ago, and now starting a number of 20 and 21-year-olds this year, is not the best way to get wins around your superstar that you're trying to develop into a superstar in Devin Booker. In New Orleans, their game was not the draft. Their game was actually signing restricted free agents and young-ish free agents like Etuan Moore and Solomon Hill and guys like that. That was their shtick. Their Dell Demps' plan was actually to get those 23, 24, 27-year-old glue guys from other teams. His problem. Part of the problem was Drew Holiday wasn't healthy enough when they were trying to do this. Drew was out for a couple of years, I think. And but it just never worked for Dell Demps. And what I think is interesting is that now James Jones wants to do that this summer, is get those 23 to 25 to 27-year-old guys in free agency. And if you're going to get them in free agency, you're going to overpay them. And you run the risk of failing that way too. It's all, you got to get the right guys. Obviously, you got to do something to get the right guys. But I just want to point out that it's about finding the right guys. It's not about having a plan, and that plan will always work. So I do worry about the Suns going for the mid-career free agents this summer in free agency because you have to give them a contract and you have to outbid other teams.
Well, at least they have a full staff of talent evaluators. They're going to help James Jones determine which guys he should go after, right?
I think he said on the radio this week, he's got 10 plus scouts.
Oh,
right.
Well, so they hired
scouts are different. And he did say that not to worry about not having the scouts. They have YouTube.
Did he?
He did. They're using
he
technology.
Actually said that?
No,
he said they're using technology.
No, you could literally tell me he said that. I'd believe you. That's the thing. That's where we are.
He also said they sit in the 4th row instead of the 12th row.
So they have a better vantage point.
They're closer. Yeah.
Actually, I kind of like the 12th row because you can see all 10 guys. 4th row is a bit low.
See, I'm just excited that they hired 9 scouts this week.
The thing is, they're part-time. They work for other teams too. They're
10 plus.
Right.
Oh,
they aren't real scouts.
So he did have a good point that Ryan McDonough had about 50 billion scouts, and they ended up still picking the wrong guys in most drafts.
But that doesn't mean that it's okay. Okay, so the thing about that is well, while it's true, Ryan McDonough missed on a lot of things, and this is not a Philly reference. There is value in the process. And if your process is right, your results might be. If your process is wrong, your results will never be right.
Hey, Tim, can I just tell you, we're hearing you in the room. We're not hearing you through your mic.
The whole time or just now?
I just noticed it, but I don't know how long it's lasted.
It's
echoey.
Well, I can't do anything now because we're in the middle of our YouTube, but thank you for pointing that out.
You can work on it, though, and maybe make the second half of the video.
It just my head wants to explode with all this. Is he literally employing the George Costanza, I'm just going to do the opposite plan here? Is that really what James?
He's probably going to hire Dell Demps as a consultant.
I mean, like, did he really just go, well, McDonough had scouts and that didn't work.
He literally said that.
I'm going to go the opposite
this week.
Oh, for God's sake.
But they sit closer. They sit closer.
They sit
there, they sit closer.
They literally could sit at center court for all I care. It's not going to help them. Oh my gosh. No wonder Woj is reporting things like the NBA is concerned, all right? Like, we've been concerned for the whole year. I'm glad the NBA's finally caught up with us.
Suns are a concern. We've been concerned for about 7 years. Did you see me post my before and after pictures last night on Twitter?
I did.
Me, the last time the Suns were in the playoffs versus me now, it's disgusting.
I've seen the progression before my own eyes. It is disgusting. I can assure you of that. Don't worry.
I was so much younger and better looking last time the Suns won a playoff game.
Yeah, I can't even remember that.
Sorry, folks.
Yeah.
It's Tim's idea to do YouTube. I try to stay out of the spotlight as much as possible.
Seriously, I can't help. It takes a lot to get me speechless, but this whole thing at this point just has me going, really? This is where we're at? This is the plan? Really?
I don't think you know what speechless means.
Well, okay. Flustered, flummoxed. Those better.
Flabbergasted.
There's a million of those that we could go down, but you look at it and I just how does this make any sense? It doesn't make sense. Like, I'm sure James Jones is a very nice guy. He was very smart in where he chose to play in his career and had very much had a lot of success in that, and more power to him. But right now, I don't know how anybody can feel confident going into an off season that this is where you're heading and where you're trying to fix something that is inherently broken, and this is the answer to do it.
Well, I have a hot take.
Good.
Could it be that James Jones is not the problem?
Oh yeah. Definitely.
That he's covering for somebody else?
Yeah, somebody above James Jones might be the common denominator on this team.
Oh, hold on. We all agree on that. I'm just talking about the specific, we don't need scouts and we're going to do this through free agency stance. Are you trying to insinuate that Robert Sarver went, you know what? I don't want to spend any money on scouts, so sell this to people for me.
Yes.
Is that really what's going on? And James Jones should have said, you know what? I'm glad you offered me this.
Robert Sarver is paying all those salaries for the rest of the season. He's not going to double pay if he doesn't have to.
Dude, James Jones is literally showing up to like grocery stores to buy people beer to clean up the mess of this team. I don't think it's James Jones.
Imagine how long those people in line had to wait for them to realize, A, Josh Jackson ain't showing up, and B, call James Jones on the phone and ask him to come down to talk to someone.
Okay, first off, how many times?
And then only after that did Josh Jackson say, oh, hey, yeah, did you want me to over there, actually? The Suns have actually tried to get a hold of him, and he was ignoring them.
Mm-hmm.
How many people do you actually think were at a Frye's waiting for Josh Jackson?
I saw pictures online. There was at least 5.
There was a good amount of people.
I feel sorry for those 5 people.
No, there was a good amount of people. Right? But regardless, the point isn't how many people were waiting in line for Josh Jackson. What I'm saying is James Jones has to go around this goddamn team cleaning up messes all day, and then we yell at him when he's probably just doing. He can only control what he can control.
Oh. Well, he can. Okay.
Robert Sarver is the damn problem here. Robert Sarver isn't letting him or any other GM that's been in place do their job, and we always blame the person who's speaking.
I get it, and I totally 100% get that, and I know for a fact Ryan McDonough had to talk around things that Robert Sarver was doing and try to make sense of them, and it put him in a bad position.
And Lon Babby before him.
And it's probably happening with James Jones as well. But you know what? James Jones doesn't need the money. He made enough money in his career. Just tell Robert Sarver to take a long walk off a short pier and quit. If you're not getting to implement something you believe in, don't sit there and lie through your teeth for somebody like that. Just quit.
James doesn't know what he believes in right now. It's his second year in the NBA front office after just playing on the end of a bench for 5 years.
These jobs are hard to get.
But he can't legitimately think having no scouts and no prep work for a draft and for a free agency process is really the way to go. If he does, he is the problem. If he doesn't, he's lying for somebody else, and that's just not a position that he should put himself in. Just walk away. Are you saying
that either way he's not the right guy because of that?
Well, possibly? I'm just saying, you know, I can't talk. I lied for the team too. Like
and you were getting paid a lot less money.
But I also didn't have millions of dollars in the bank because LeBron let me ride his coattails for years either. So, I mean, it's easy for me to sit here, and it's easy for anybody.
It's all relative anyway. The more money you have, the more you need.
Well, yeah, the more problems too. I get it.
Well, no, you just have bigger mortgages, bigger car payments, bigger this, bigger that.
You don't actually have more money because you make more money. Your stuff's more expensive, to Dave's point, so you might even have less money.
That's true. Correct. You know what? Maybe I feel sorry for James Jones when we get to it.
Now that you have applied it to your own situation, you're realizing that maybe you're being a little harsh on James Jones.
I kind of like James Jones, man. I do. I kind of like. I think that
I love the realization on Greg's face as he's sitting here.
Yeah, that came full circle real quick. Smack me in the face, James. If you need somebody to talk to and explain and commiserate. And tell you how I navigated through it. I'm here for you. We can talk.
5 years, man.
I you know, yeah, you're probably 100% right now that I think about it, Tim. But at this point, okay, well, there's unless Woj's report is true, and I apologize if you have this on the roadmap for later in the show, but if Adrian Wojnarowski's report that the NBA is concerned about this franchise is true, the only hope now is, and I wrote about this on Brightside a while ago when I was doing my column there,
bright side in a while, so it must be a while ago.
I haven't. I have a life, and this is the only thing I get to do outside of that. But
thanks.
I wrote about it. Adam Silver has to step in. That's the only hope at this point. If that's where we're at.
So who would Adam Silver step in with?
I don't know though. I mean,
I was talking to Bob Young, former and Evan Sidery as well, but Bob Young, a former beat writer for the Suns, who's been around the league for a long time, and we were talking a little bit about who Robert Sarver would put in, at Adam Silver's direction. And it would have to be an older, semi-retired executive who isn't looking for the upward mobility career path, but wants to go in and be a voice in Robert's ear and a voice in the GM's ear to try to help nudge things along. There are guys all over the league like this. There's Rod Thorne, who's been in and out of positions like that. Jerry Colangelo himself, which obviously Sarver would never do. There's been Stu Jackson types that have gone in and out of league offices to teams, back to league offices. And so that, if you're going to have somebody who's actually assigned to help out with the Suns, it would be someone like that. And the name we kind of alighted on, although there's zero rumors about this, but Donnie Wall should be a nice kind of guy to bring in. He's been retired for a few years, but he's still got tons of connections in the league. And that's the kind of guy that would come in to help basically grandfather around the team and possibly talk Bob Sarver into doing things that he wouldn't have otherwise done with a whippersnapper telling him to do it. I think the Suns tried it a little bit with Lon Babby, but that was at Robert Sarver's choice. That wasn't at the league's choice. The league would pick somebody not related to the Suns. Also, probably not affiliated with Jerry Colangelo either, like Bob Young threw out Al Bianchi, who used to work for the Suns for many, many, many years in lots of different capacities, but he's such a Colangelo guy that wouldn't work. But there's got to be guys out there. And so if Adam Silver is going to name someone or help Bob Sarver pick someone to advise the Suns in a similar role to Jerry Colangelo doing it for the Sixers a couple of years ago, to get them out of their constant process and into the actual finishing the process and becoming a playoff team, it's going to be someone like that. And you just got to hope it's not someone awful.
The difference is Philly's ownership wanted to win, and wanted to figure out a way to do.
Wants to win.
I don't know anymore. If he did, why would you continue to do the same thing over and over for a decade?
Well, he doesn't. He's stubborn.
And the problem is
to win. He would rather win 50 games and have playoff revenue.
Well, the problem is if the league steps in and puts somebody in to take over, Robert Sarver's not going to listen to him. We've seen it. Who he hasn't listened to anybody. He had Steve Kerr here. He ran him out. He had Alvin Gentry here who knew what he was talking about. He ran him out. He had Mike D'Antoni here. He ran him out. He's not going to listen to somebody, especially if it's forced on him. So the league's going to have to cut him out of the process completely.
They're not. It's an old boys club. These are billionaire club. This is billionaire boys club. They're not going to run each other out.
And that
the only
was my
time they've ever
point.
done it is with racism issues or abuse issues and shit like that. And Robert doesn't do that stuff.
And that was my point right there. So it's not going to matter because they're not going to do anything that's going to remove the real problem. You can put somebody in here as a figurehead to try to convince him to do things differently, but we've seen it. He's going to do what he wants to do. So this is going to be a perpetual problem unless he decides to change something.
So on
that, just my wrist, man. Jeez.
On that note, I do want to go ahead and thank a supporter of the show. So if you're watching on YouTube, listening on your podcast app, and you click the show notes, you will see something that says support the podcast, and you can do a $1, a $5, or a $10 option. We do have a $10 option that was done. If you do a $10, I'll send you some Sun swag. So Matthew Van Hoos, and I do believe that we shouted you out last week, but thank you again. I still don't have your address information, so you got to hit us up on the Twitter or the Facebook and get me your address. Otherwise, I can't send you that swag. Also, Jacob Brogner, he did a $10 option, and I actually went to the post office during my lunch break, and I stood in line for about 35 minutes. I got to the front of the line just to realize that I did not have my wallet, so it has not been sent out yet.
Poor Tim. At least you tried, man. It's the thought that counts.
It was the most Tim thing in my life to happen to me. But no, thank you guys very much for the support. We appreciate that. And then also a listener made us a very cool new logo, Arby.
We're supposed to talk about it here?
Well, I mean, you could, or you could just let me do all of this.
I mean, it was...
I didn't know that was a handout. I thought that you're talking about the logo that looks like it's got that shield. It's on a crest.
Yeah, you just made it for us.
It looks pretty awesome. Yes. It's so cool that we can just talk about it as people are listening to this podcast, and they'll be able to envision it in their minds.
I'm just happy any fan enjoys actually listening to us so much that they wanted to put in work, because we rarely put in work to do this show, and then he actually went to the work of doing some graphic design.
Do you know how much work I put into editing this damn show?
Yeah, I was going to say, Greg, you're the only one who doesn't put any work into this show.
Oh, Dave, when have you done anything outside? I've got to record commercials for the show after this.
All right, so
I was really looking your direction when I said that.
So it's like Tim way up here, Greg a little above me, and then me.
No, Dave has to do our posting on Bright Side of the Sun.
I do go to the effort of posting on Bright Side of the Sun. And that's where we get a lot of our listens, by the way. So, man.
Maybe not for long.
So, again, thank you so much, Matthew, Jacob, and Arby. We do appreciate you guys. So I thought it was great that last week,
we have the meats.
Last week on the show, Espo had said how little the Suns were getting out of Tyler Johnson. And then, of course, the minute we post the episode, Tyler Johnson.
Goes off. Then he did it again Friday night.
He did. But I still thought it was comical, and I guess I just wanted to kind of double back on that. Besides the offense, he is a really, really good pick and roll defender, which is exactly what this team needs. His passing is honestly pretty good. It's better than anything the Suns have right now. I think he's been a breath of fresh air. Shout out to James Jones for somehow getting something out of Ryan Anderson, even if they did waive Wayne Ellington stupidly. But Espo, do you want to retract your statement, or would you still not like to have Tyler Johnson and prefer Dragan Bender over Rashawn Holmes?
A breath of fresh air? What the hell are you talking about? Their point guard position is still sucked. They won one game. Congratulations on that. Tyler Johnson has had one good offensive game. Two good offensive games.
You should pay attention more.
It's tough to pay
old stale tape.
But I mean, the ball movement, ball movement has been better. The pick and roll defense has been better. It's been nice to have a competent point guard on the floor. I'm not saying he's a starter.
Impressed with this week is Mikal Bridges.
Have you?
On his passing?
Yes.
That dude has suddenly decided that he is going to be a pick and roll, an attack passer, where most of the Suns this year have been telegraphing just about every pass they make all around the perimeter and telegraphing feeding into the post to Ayton. A lot of it has been dribble, stop, look around, pass. Mikal Bridges has gotten really good at the attack and dish, and it's just shocking that there's an NBA player on the Suns team that actually is doing the attack and dish in traffic and getting the ball to the right guy for an open shot. And Mikal Bridges could have had another 6 or 8 assists on Friday night against the Pelicans. The Suns players just missed their too many shots. I think he only ended up with 3 assists, maybe 4. But he was really good again. And I'm just looking forward to watching Mikal Bridges' progression over the next few years.
Tim, I feel like to take one step back, and then I agree with you on Mikal, Dave, but to take one step back, Tim, I think you have lowered the bar so much on what you want out of anybody handling the ball on this team after watching what we have over the last 2 years, that Tyler Johnson being average at best all of a sudden has gotten you excited?
It's not Tim lowering the bar. It's Robert Sarver lowering
Here's the thing. All right, so we've been watching second round pick rookie point guards for like 2 years.
G League. Yes, off the street point guard.
Isaiah Kanan was our best point guard.
To Isaiah Kanan coming back. I love Isaiah. He's a great guy. But
he's
not
very
a dude
pleasant.
you should be looking forward to as your starting point guard.
Look, and I get why somebody serviceable is making you happy. The point is, it shouldn't be a point of excitement. And great, if Tyler Johnson were making $5 million, I think he would have been a steal. But he's not making $5 million; he's making $20 million.
Yeah, but
that's a problem.
Yes, I mean,
don't do the math of Ryan Anderson. I get that point, but the thing is, I'm just looking at it in totality, and Tyler Johnson is a nice bench guy. Is a guy that obviously has an NBA level skills to be in the league, which we haven't been able to say about guys playing point guard. But let's not act like this is some great player that was added to this roster. He's taken it from well below replacement player to replacement player.
Let's lighten the mood a little bit here. One of my favorite things that I heard this week is from Kelly Oubre, who was an incredibly genius acquisition by James Jones midseason.
Oh,
great!
I love me some Oubre, but I swear to God, that guy misses so many shots. He just needs to take 5 less shots a game.
Let me tell my story. Mm-hmm. Tell my story. You mean, Tim, by the way, just to finish that up, you mean 5 less missed shots, right? Because if he only makes 5 out of 16, if he takes 5 less, he can go 0 for 11. You mean the missed ones, right?
Yeah, he just needs to shoot less.
Okay. But anyway, one of my favorite quotes this week, and I'm going to paraphrase it because I don't have the actual quote here, and that's kind of boring to read a quote anyway. He was getting a lot of heckling on Monday night in Miami from I forget the name of the little crowd, but it's basically the Miami Crazies, where they really heckle opposing players, and they chose to heckle Kelly Oubre. And he made a couple of big threes against him, and even turned around at one point and said something to the crowd, so he could hear them. So he was interviewed later in the week saying, "What'd you think about those fans on Monday in Miami?" He said, "Oh, I love it. I think that's great. I love getting the attention. Deep down they love me." Because otherwise, why would they focus on me instead of somebody else? And if they don't love me, their girlfriends do.
Okay, that's spectacular.
I just thought it was great. Either they love me or their girlfriends do.
He's confident.
Well done, Kelly.
He's accurate.
Is Kelly Oubre the second best player on the Suns?
He's the best looking. That's all that matters.
Hey, Devin Booker ain't no bad looker either. Yeah, he's an attractive man.
He's a Puerto Rican, man. He's all right. But regardless, we're talking about basketball play, not whether or not they can get some. Is he the second best player on the Suns?
I still think DeAndre Ayton is the second best player on the Suns.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
This year?
Yes.
Yes. Oh, God, here we go with the Ayton hate. Come on, go for it.
It's not any Ayton hate.
You're hating?
You're hating on Ayton.
I'm not hating on Ayton. So you think that DeAndre Ayton has been the second best player in the Suns? Fine. Does that make Kelly Oubre the third best player on the Suns this year?
Yeah.
In the absence of TJ Warren, yes.
I think he's been better than TJ Warren.
Do we think that explains why the Suns have 12 wins out of 62 games? Yes.
Right.
Have we got to the bottom of what mysterious illness TJ Warren has had? No. This dude has weirder things.
Well, at least it's not another mysterious head injury.
TJ Warren has missed 33% of the games that he's been eligible to play since coming into the league. Also, Devin Booker, with these injury reports, I feel like the Suns should just put out something along the lines that says, Devin Booker, questionable for tonight's game for some weird injury no one knew he had before. That's probably a little bit minor, not really a big deal.
It would be great if the Suns communications actually had Devin Booker questionable, and then in parentheses, insert injury here, you know, and
Right.
then they tweet that out at some point.
Yes, that's what I mean.
Because even last night, Booker drove to the hoop, and as he was losing the ball, trying to regain control of the ball, he ran and clipped one of his fingers on one of the cameras that being used baseline for video. And he comes up lame, and he's holding his hand, and he's got to get the injury timeout and stop the bleeding. And I'm just like, oh Lord, here we go, another injury. And he had a big toe injury this week after having a big toe injury 3 months ago for stubbing his toe on this is what he says anyway, stubbing his toe on the corner of the bed in his hotel room as he was getting ready to go make a public appearance. I mean, yeah, that's exactly what happened, Devin. Just like Josh Jackson had a family emergency and had no access to his phone for 3 hours while he was tweeting or Instagramming about being at Fogo de Chao.
Hey, I'm pretty sure Devin at least fought through the injury and showed up at the event, though. That's the difference here, right?
Yeah, exactly. He just missed half a dozen games.
Oh, that's all right. I mean, who cares about the games as long as he's showing up at the events, right?
Well, tell Josh Jackson.
So the Suns...
Josh Jackson ended the game on Friday night, and the fan right behind me yells, "Hey, Josh, you showed up."
0 F.
Yeah, I mean, he didn't show up to play. He just showed up.
Right, he showed up. He just didn't play.
So
it would have been good if he'd have just shown up at Frye's.
The Suns are 30th in the league this year at allowing opponents to shoot the highest percentage of their shots around the rim. 41% of opponent shots are coming at the rim. Again, that puts them for 30th in the league, and opponents on those shots are shooting around 64%, which puts the Suns around 23rd in the league.
Really good at.
Clearly, DeAndre Ayton is not a rim protector. So how important
it's also
this
possible
isn't,
because they're playing 6'7", 200-pound guys at every other freaking position.
well, let me finish with my.
But you can't
No, but
start with just say.
There's two options here. There's two options. All right. So one, and clear, you cannot say that DeAndre Ayton's a good rim protector. You just can't. You cannot. And I'm not knocking him for not being. That's not the type of player he is. So there's two things that need to happen for the Suns team to improve significantly on a defensive end, and that is either DeAndre Ayton needs to become wildly better at rim protection, which is possible he could do it. He's 20 years old. Or the Suns need to put in a defensive-minded power forward next to him. Which one is more important and or more likely to happen?
I think it's both. I think he needs to get better, but they need to give him help. I mean, when Kelly Oubre and TJ Warren and Josh Jackson are your options at power forward next to you, of course you're gonna wind up looking worse because you have nobody that's helping you out at all.
It's also true that teams are pretty good at now. Yes, Tim, I agree with you. DeAndre Ayton does not contest enough shots at the rim. Absolutely, that is 100% true. It's also true though that he gets switched and defended out to the perimeter, and the only guys in there to defend the rim at least half the time are the little guys, because he'll get put into a pick and roll. He'll get stuck on the point guard on the roll because they switch everything. And then all of a sudden, the only guys defending at the rim are Kelly Oubre and Josh Jackson.
Yes, that's absolutely part of it.
And that's at least half of those.
Okay.
Tim's rolling his eyes for anybody who's actually just listening to the podcast. If you actually watch...
There is
watch the replays.
I watch the games, so I understand I don't need to watch replays, but there is validity to it that he does get switched out a lot, which has to do with the way that the Suns cover their pick and roll, which is part of the reason I've actually really liked Tyler Johnson, because when Tyler Johnson is in the game, for the most part, DeAndre Ayton is not getting switched out on those guards on the perimeter because Tyler Johnson is a much better pick and roll defender, even if offensively he has games where he's just garbage.
That is a fair and positive assessment of Tyler Johnson. I do not disagree with you there. I know I seem like I hate Tyler Johnson, and I don't. He is very good in that situation. I'm going to take a step back, and I get that DeAndre Ayton has flaws. We've talked about it, and
that wasn't a knock on DeAndre Ayton. That was just how do you address the
Tim,
problem better?
Yourself? These are all knocks on DeAndre Ayton.
Okay.
But I don't feel like any of these rookies would have come into this situation, that, to put it nicely, and be able to have done much in terms of specifically defense, but in general, I think they all would have had problems. DeAndre Ayton has been a guy that we knew was going to have to work on defensive end things. And who do we really think that the staff's in place to work with him on this, the system's in place for him to be better at this, that anything about this situation that we should have expected him to get that much better in an area where he had to grow with nobody there to really help him get better, and no help from a power forward or mostly guards all year that couldn't defend their own position.
Yeah, no, DeAndre Ayton was put in an unnecessarily prime defensive expectation situation this year, which on one level is unfair to him, but on another level, DeAndre Ayton is not the guy who would have done well. I mean, he just wasn't going to defend well this year, and he's going to have to wildly improve his awareness and his understanding of when to defend the rim and when not to, and when to give help defense, even if he had been switched out on pick and roll, and when not to. Absolutely, he's got to make a ton of strides here. But Evan and Brendan had a blogger from the Pelicans on their Locked On Suns podcast this week. He talked about the rookie year of Anthony Davis. Anthony Davis did quickly become a defensive player of the year type. And I'm not saying DeAndre Ayton can be, please don't take that. But Anthony Davis, by his second, third, fourth year, became a really, really good defender. But even this blogger said, I remember his rookie year. His rookie year, he was hidden. He was not put on the other team's best defenders. He was not put in situations. He was played only power forward that year. He obviously his overall numbers were 13 and 8.
He's next to Omar Sheik, right?
Yeah. It was really interesting. He's like, if you just compare rookie years, they're about similar in how they're being used, how they're being developed. Igor, unfortunately, has no choice but to make DeAndre Ayton the focal point on defense. The Pelicans had the ability not to have to do that when Anthony Davis was a rookie. That doesn't mean DeAndre Ayton is going to have that big jump in year 2 and year 3 defensively, and I certainly just don't expect it. But he will get better. Rookies just don't know what the heck they're doing. There's a reason Mo Bamba is hardly playing any minutes this year, and that is not just because Vucevic is playing at all-star level. If Mo Bamba was ready to defend all the time, they'd figure out how to get him on the court more. There's a reason that Jaren Jackson was played at power forward most of the time this year until he got hurt with a quad injury. He was going to end up being their center for the rest of the year after they traded Marc Gasol. But he wasn't their center most of the year. He was a power forward playing next to Gasol. Teams, if they're smart, hide a guy a little bit in his rookie year. That's what you can do much more easily with guards than you can with big men. And especially in the Suns' case, this has been impossible. So a lot of things have conspired to make him look as bad as this. And some of them are his own fault. Okay, I get that. Yeah. But a lot of them are the roster's fault.
Yeah, so fixing it or moving forward to make it not such a glaring hole.
Give him a power forward that actually can do help defense, roll to the rim, protect the rim. I threw out an Aaron Gordon type a little while ago. I know what Tobias Harris is exciting in terms of he could be another 20-7 guy, but you kind of already have that, except he's a much better version, but you kind of already have that in a TJ Warren. He's a little better than TJ Warren. But he's not a rim protector, Tobias Harris. So you need a rim protector if you're going to bring in a power forward that can play, and then who can play on the court at the same time as Ayton. And also Ayton has to get better. So the answer is both to your question, Tim.
I wholeheartedly agree with Dave.
Because I just said what Greg said first. I agree.
Would you like to go on to something else, Tim?
trade the son of a bitch, but
That wasn't a knock on him. I was actually looking at cleaning the glass, and I was trying to figure out.
I'm gonna put a poll up on Brightside and see if what Tim says is not a knock on him. If anybody else thinks that's a knock on him.
Well, when you start off with, does DeAndre Ayton just suck, or did they
Clearly,
need him to power
DeAndre
forward?
Ayton is terrible.
I was trying to figure out. I was trying to figure out statistically where the Suns this year are so much worse than they were last year, and part of it has to do with defense. Well, most of it has to do with defense. If we're talking about like the Suns on an offensive level, their offense is better this year than it was last year. If you want to talk about like even in the half court, their points per possession this year have gone from 30th to 28th. So there's been a mild improvement there, right? Where they're averaging 103, or they were averaging last season 103.1 points per 100 possessions. This season it's 104.8, but their defense has gone back about 3 points. So the defense has gotten worse while the offense has gotten mildly better. And then trying to figure out where the defense is worse, and the defense isn't worse protecting the three. The defense is worse specifically at the rim. DeAndre Ayton happens to be the guy that's at the rim, and that's where the question came from. It wasn't me looking for a knock on DeAndre Ayton. It was looking at the statistics, trying to figure out where the problem is.
So what you're saying is you would rather have Alex Len at center than DeAndre Ayton. I see how you are, Tim. No, this is bullshit.
I actually do have a question though, and that was because I was watching a game earlier this week, and I wanted to ask you guys, and I thought it'd be interesting. Would you rather have DeAndre Ayton on this team or Steven Adams?
Steven Adams. I would take Steven Adams for sure.
Greg, have you watched Steven Adams play defense? Because holy shit, it's good.
Yeah, but hold on. Are we talking for the long term or just right now in a vacuum this year?
In a vacuum this year and a couple of years from now. Which center would have the biggest impact for this current?
Steven Adams, obviously, because he's been in the league. He gets it. He is a good defender. If we're talking long term, I'd still rather have DeAndre Ayton over Steven Adams. But in the moment, yes, of course, Steven Adams. Sorry, I misunderstood the question. And I really thought you were going to go down the Alex Len, have Alex Len back or have DeAndre Ayton. So no. I love Alex, but that's no contest.
No contest. Although watching Steven Adams play defense as a center, I want to take tape and just give it to DeAndre Ayton and say, this is how you do it, man.
If you're going to put a guy on an island, you're going to want to do like the Suns have done with one big man and four littles. I would definitely rather have a Steven Adams, Rudy Gobert, that kind of player.
Well, Steven Adams specifically, he knows when and how to hedge pick and rolls.
Oh, okay. I'd rather have Rudy Gobert over Steven Adams.
Yeah.
I'd rather have prime Hakeem Olajuwon over both of them. I mean, great.
We're going to go there. Okay. Let's go there.
Hey, let's have this thought experiment.
Been incredible in today's league, by the way.
Yeah, he would have. I mean, I'd rather have prime Shaq. I'd rather have Luke Longley.
Pick and rolls, Greg. Jesus. And he couldn't shoot a three.
I'd rather have Arvydas Sabonis. Like, are we just naming people like guys that were big that would be an upgrade right now? Like
Arvydas would be pretty good.
Yeah, I know. Prime Arvydas back in his European days.
Even the NBA Arvydas would be pretty good.
Can we? How about we talk about John Gambadoro?
How about I'd rather have DeAndre Ayton than Jakob Poeltl. Let's go with that one.
Or Yakir Smirnoff.
You want to talk about Gambo?
Raffy.
What about Gambo you want to talk about?
Earlier in this week, he basically on air said that right before the Miami game, that Igor's job was on the line. If they had lost that night, he might get run. Like,
so much happened this week. I almost forgot about that. It was just like a week of shit.
Well, I was sitting here thinking, was that last week? Did we talk about that on the episode? Because so much has happened and yet nothing has happened.
What's really sad is that because, well, they won, and so we don't know if Igor was going to get fired after the game after that. But Robert Sarver has fired every other coach that way. Mm-hmm. He waits until he can't stand the losses, and McDonough. The timing of firing McDonough was because they had lost 3 preseason games in a row that prior week. The timing of firing Earl Watson is because they got blown out by 40 plus in a week.
That wasn't why he fired Earl Watson. There's a much worse story than that.
Well, okay, but he has fired Alvin Gentry. When he fired Alvin Gentry, it was after a terrible loss.
Yes.
Robert Sarver is reactionary to losses, and I think it's sad that a coach or a GM, but definitely a coach, can be fired based on what you did in 1/82nd of a season.
Well, do we really believe that all of a sudden, well, they won that Miami game, everything's good now? If you think that you're going to run the guy, that's not going to change it. Well, just do it, right?
That's what I was saying. It shouldn't matter. It shouldn't matter. The Miami game should not have mattered on Monday. They were either going to fire him on Tuesday with 3 days to name a replacement, or they weren't. It should have had nothing to do with what happened in that game.
No, none whatsoever. And I fully believe Gambo's report, having a pretty good idea how he comes about this stuff and trusting the guy. I know he had some missteps this offseason, but he's not going to go out there with they might do this without having knowledge of what's going on. He's not making that kind of thing up.
What was an interesting social experiment, though, is if you make an assumption that the players heard the rumor, mm-hmm. They might not have, because they were on the road and all that crap. They might not have. But if you make the assumption that the players heard the rumor, that it's possible that Igor's last game could have been Monday night.
Oh, they heard it.
Then, right. So if you make that assumption, then it was instructive or a social experiment for me to watch how the players reacted in that game. Devin Booker could have gone out and taken 2 shots all game, mm-hmm. if he wanted Igor fired. If he knew there was a chance that all it took was one more loss to make a change at the coach. The players don't think the coach is the problem. They also don't know that he's the solution yet, because they're 11-50 or 12-51. But they know he's not the problem also.
Yeah, and that's a great point. If they really were checked out on this guy, Devin Booker could have come up with a mysterious illness or injury, not played. They could have all just played like they had the previous 17 games.
To be fair, I thought they started out the game that way. It ended up being a really good competitive game, and they all came on. But there was a point in which I thought Devin Booker was honing it in.
Oh, no, I tweeted too. What the heck is he doing? I didn't know quite what he was doing in that game. But he also later, after the game, the players were openly, without being prompted, saying that it was Booker who was riling everybody up on the sidelines and telling them to pass and play the right way and all that. And he's the one who willed them emotionally in that game. They gave him credit for that. And that's good, because you need your leader to do that. But you can't make Igor something he's not, and he's not a great motivator, but he's also not the problem. He's a really good coach. He just needs time, and he may never get great at in-game coaching. And you have to figure out, well, how do we mask for that? How do we need a really strong lead assistant who's going to be the emotional jump around, yell at everybody guy, if Igor's not going to be that guy? But Igor is a really good player developer. I think we're going to look back on history, and we're going to see that bringing DeAndre Ayton along slowly this year in terms of not asking him to do too much is going to end up benefiting Ayton. And I think giving Devin Booker an entire year to figure out how to be a leader, because if you're going to be the star that Devin Booker thinks he is and is being paid like he is, you need to be more of a leader than he's been. Maybe this year is worth the pain, because I see more coming out of this year. And Mikal Bridges, Igor purposely gave Mikal Bridges too few responsibilities in the first 2 months of the season. He was clearly much better than the minutes he was getting. But now we're seeing a much better Mikal Bridges, and even though he doesn't have to score 15 points a game to make himself feel good, he's getting 4, 5, 8 assists. He's getting a few rebounds. He's getting 3 or 4 steals a game. That guy is all over the court defensively, it's so fun to watch him. But the problem is right now he's being also forced to defend the rim a lot, like I talked about earlier when DeAndre Ayton has switched out onto the perimeter, or Richaun Holmes, who's even worse at pick and roll defense and even worse at rolling back to the rim after he's been pulled 15 feet away. Then Mikal is being put out of position a little bit that way. But I really think we're going to look back on this and we're going to see that there was some development that happened this year as opposed to prior years.
Oh, I agree. He is very good at player development. We talked about last week. They probably need a motivator in chief on his staff. That's his job to do those things.
Alvin Gentry said that on Friday, by the way, when he was in and we were talking to him about Igor. He said the same thing. He's like, look, you're not going to get Igor to suddenly get a technical every game and defend your players and scream at the refs and all that. That's just not who he is. Can he get better? Yes. Can he fight harder for his players' sake? Yes. But what he really needs is exactly what you just said, Greg, and exactly what we were talking about last week is you need a motivator in chief on the sideline who will be that strong voice that the players react to.
And I think if you understand the reality of who Igor is, you have to set him up for success like that, like we talked about. I don't want to see him get run. If he does, I understand because they haven't been good this year. But if you do it, you better damn well have a plan in place, which we know they probably don't, to bring in somebody experienced, do this thing in a different way, and actually be smart about it. And I don't think they will. I think it'll be very reactionary. They'll hire another guy that, the only name, if you're going to go for a never having been a head coach in the NBA before that I even want to hear discussed is Dan Marley.
No.
Just simply because of the history and how I've seen him be able to fire guys up.
I don't think Dan would be able to do it.
I don't think Dan.
No, I mean I don't think Dan would take it. That's what I mean. I don't think he'd be able to leave. Talk himself out of staying at GCU at this point.
Why would anyone? Why would anyone go to the Suns? Why?
I agree.
Because it's one of 30 jobs in the league. That's why they keep getting people. But the people they're getting are the ones who've never been an NBA head coach before. So in that respect, Marley would probably think twice about it. But I don't know that he would leave GCU. He's got a heck of a good job.
But that's the problem. This is the conundrum. So stick with. If you're going to have to go with a first year, never done this before guy anyways, you're probably not going to get much better than Igor. So stick with him. Let him grow. If that's
one of the things I was gonna mention to Alvin, but there was a few people around. I didn't get a chance to jump in. But one of the reasons Steve Kerr was successful is not just because of his roster, but because his lead assistants his first year was Alvin Gentry for the offense, and I think it was Ron Adams on the defense. But it was one of those defensive wizard guys who really ran the defense, and he had Alvin for the offense. That was his lead assistants on his staff when he was a rookie coach. That's the kind of people you need to be successful.
Yeah, and it's just like any manager. You have to surround yourself with the people that make you look better and help fill in for your deficiencies. So do that. Support this guy. Because you're not going to wind up with a great seasoned veteran coach. So just support this guy and figure out a way to grow with him and make it work. If they had run him, it would have been crazy again. It would have been insanity that you just blew him out after in this first season in a situation that wasn't tenable for anybody.
Who the hell would have been the interim?
Prundy, right? Or his lead assistant there, the guy from Milwaukee, right?
Yeah, Joe Prunty. He finished with Milwaukee last year and at least coasted them into the playoffs. I think they lost in the first round. But Prunty has led a team. But no, I don't think Prunty would be the right guy. I just don't know. I don't know if he's the right lead assistant either.
I just had an awful thought.
Okay.
Is Jason Kidd...
No, stop.
No, I'm not. No, I'm not saying. But think about it. They're looking for some kind of executive in the front office and potentially a coach. That's the kind of move they'll make. They'll bring in a Jason Kidd to check those boxes. And he's a guy that has made it clear he wants both roles.
No.
I agree, but think about it. If something's gonna happen this offseason, doesn't that seem like more of a likelihood than anything else?
So earlier on this episode, I had made a joke that James Jones said that they use YouTube, and Greg was like, maybe he did say it. I would believe it at this point. It's gotten to the point to where if James Jones said, you know what, I'm going to take over as coach, if they would have fired Igor, I would have thought, it seems like something Suns would do. Talking about bringing in Jason Kidd, why wouldn't they do it? That's where we're at.
I am at a point where if you fire another coach in a season, and I've said this on the show before, Robert Sarver should be forced to coach for the rest of the year.
He should, and then they should lose every game out so he can get fired.
If you're gonna do it, good luck. Here you go. Actually, if you run another GM, good luck. Here you go.
Well, he is a GM.
Be Jerry Jones.
He doesn't need a GM.
But own it. Be Jerry Jones. Just say I'm doing this.
There was a quote that Robert Sarver was considering hiring a president of basketball operations, someone who was seasoned and had some experience running an NBA front office. And I just thought, he's thinking about this. He's considering it.
But no interviews.
He's being told to consider it, I think. I don't know that he actually wants to do it, like Greg said earlier on in today's podcast. But that's the kind of guy they'll be bringing in would be somebody who the league office would support. And it would be a guy we probably would not be excited about.
He's considering bringing in somebody to right the ship. He's considering it.
You know what I loved was after the Woj report, all of a sudden the next day it leaked. Well, Suns have begun interviews for their new general manager. Yeah, sure. Like Woj blows you guys out of the water, and then all of a sudden it's no, those reports no guys, come on, really? Like, are we dumb? Do you really think we're falling for that, or did you all did the Woj report make them go, oh yeah, we've had that on our to-do list, maybe we should start interviewing people for this? We did forget about that.
Imagine them clearing house and putting Kevin McHale in charge of the front office and Jason Kidd on the sideline.
Nope, it's going to be Jason Kidd is your head of basketball operations and your head coach, with James Jones as your GM.
No, man, Jamal Crawford. He's going to be
Jamal will be. No, you know what'll happen? Jamal will be the assistant that they bring in behind James Jones, that then shanks James Jones a year from now when he gets fired. That's how this system works. Have you not seen this?
I'd like it if they would bring Roddy Price here locally and have him full time with the team. He's an advanced scout type, one of those part-time 10+ scouts. Ronnie Price is employed by the team, by the way, right now. I don't know how much he makes or how part-time the job is, but he was always an excellent guy, an incredibly good guy. Not that he should be out scouting college players, but he definitely is a really, really good guy.
Are we at a point where we'd wish that on any of the guys that we like, though?
Yes, because we still love this franchise, Gray, because we're getting up every Saturday doing a freaking podcast.
I know, but I liked Ronnie Price. I don't want to put him in the meat grinder that is that, Can
you imagine how player-friendly, it was like players only on TNT, if James Jones, Ronnie Price, and Jamal Crawford were the front office for the Suns.
Dude, I'd be so okay with it, cool. Honestly.
That'd be cool.
At least it would help you with player relations. I still want Jared Dudley.
I don't see them putting Jason Kidd on the sidelines, though. No, Jason Kidd is not a player-friendly coach.
No, this is true.
He wasn't even a player-friendly player.
He wasn't a media-friendly player. He wasn't a wife-friendly husband.
Yeah,
he's just not a nice guy.
Friendly. He
just
wasn't
not friendly.
Player-friendly. He wasn't friend-friendly.
So on that note,
one thing, players only. There is not a worse concept in television than players only broadcast.
It's a terrible.
I cannot stand it. I'd rather them give a fans only broadcast where they brought in celebrity fans and normal fans to do the broadcast than players only. And like anything other than give me ambient sound for an entire broadcast.
Trying to remember the sequence, but there was a player the players really wanted to prop up, and he had just shit the bed 10 series in a row, 10 possessions in a row. And then he made one good shot. And they actually cut that into a highlight and said, there he is taking over the game. And I'm like, I just watched the last 5 minutes of this game, pal. He is not taking over.
Yep.
That's players only broadcasting right there.
Paul Pierce is getting pudgy.
Oh my God! I swear to God, it might not have been, but I think it was Nigel Knight who was at the game last night, sitting on the sidelines before it started. I'm pretty sure it was because I kind of remember the face. Or it's somebody who ate Nigel Knight. It's one of those two things because this person was much bigger than the one I remember. So maybe he's the man of many faces too. He could have just put Nigel Knight's face on himself.
Honestly though, if you were an NBA player and your entire life you had to be in the peak shape, and it was demanded of you, once you retired, wouldn't you say, at the very least, I'm going to take 2 years where I'm just going to eat like anybody. I'm going to enjoy myself a little bit and not have to deal with it. I don't judge.
This doesn't mean as much coming from you, Greg.
Fair enough. But
speaking of somebody with many faces, now I'm thinking about Game of Thrones, which starts up again next month. Woo-hoo!
Hey, I'm on season number 1 right now, episode 8.
Are you serious?
Nerds.
Yeah.
Are you serious? You're only on season 1?
I've been putting it off until I didn't have anything else to watch.
Oh God, you're such a loser. You should have been watching this for years. Years. It's a great show.
I know. I'm watching it.
I can't
so
afford
have you
HBO.
seen? Is Ned still alive?
I don't know. Right now, I'm at the point where there's there's 400 different people, and I'm just memorizing names because there's all these stories going on at the same time. It's a difficult show. Okay, so I'm on season 1. Ask me on season 6.
I think the answer is yes.
Well, not to give it away, but now whoever this Ned guy is going to die.
I think pretty much everybody.
At some
dies
point, everyone dies.
Right.
No,
in
seriously,
general.
this is the greatest thing about this show is that nobody is safe, and they just have new characters take over. It's great. So don't get attached to anybody. Okay.
Okay.
That's a good advice for life too, and as a Suns fan, don't get attached to anybody.
Well, I mean,
don't get traded or get fired. Don't get attached.
Okay, so every relationship, if you want to bring it to females and love life, has 2 options, right? One person is either going to leave heartbroken or dead. And that's the end of it. Those are your 2 options. There's no other one.
Yeah, there is.
What?
People can just fade out and become best friends.
Cryogenically frozen. That's another option, right?
Okay, well, somebody's still dead. Either you're the dead one or you have to deal with the person you love the most in your life is dead. That can happen. Or someone can end up heartbroken. Those are the 2 outcomes.
This is really sad.
And to bring this back to the Suns, I am heartbroken. The Suns are dead. And I'm here left trying to pick up the pieces with you guys. So
we'll all be here.
Relationship.
There's not a chance that I'm going to go into this offseason talking about the next season when we're doing our previews saying that the Suns are going to win 30 games. I'm not going to be optimistic.
We're hedging our bet.
That's fine.
19 games.
I was the only one who had us down in the 20s, I think, this offseason.
Hey, I think we both said the only way they'd get to the win total that we were saying was if they had a point guard. So I think we're all covered that they never got that. So
I'm really looking forward to July 15th when we're wondering when they're going to acquire their point guard. I can't wait.
Well, they have one. Tyler Johnson.
In the offseason, we're going to tear that apart, and we're going to be wondering, are there any day now from acquiring the point guard of the future? They can't possibly go into next season without a better point guard than Tyler Johnson. That's what we'll be saying starting around the 10th of July.
Are we going to start talking about the draft at any point, or are we just going to exclude that from this year's this season?
We're scouting the draft as much as James Jones is.
Actually, we should bring in people that James Jones should hire as scouts. That should be a shtick we do. Interview somebody.
The people we'll be interviewing are the ones he's going to count as his 10-plus scouts. There'll be Jonathan Givony.
Actually, here's what we do.
Cole Zwicker.
Yeah, we provide James Jones with his draft primer. We have guests on as if they're talking to James Jones to sell him on a guy.
This is one of the reasons he doesn't think he needs scouts is because there's plenty of people who want to scout anyway for free.
He has his ESPN Plus subscription so he can read Draft Express, and he's good.
They have technology.
They've spent money on their
He's
scouting
using technology, the internets and the YouTubes.
He did. He said, "Don't worry, we're using technology."
I know.
Like other teams aren't. I don't know. Are you the only team that has technology?
They're all just bringing 12 scouts to every game.
Sitting in the press box, 13 rows up, without a good vantage point.
Yeah, but they have an iPad, so they can watch the game on their iPad while they're sitting 13 rows up. So technology. Right?
He did go on to say, to his credit, that when they find a player they like, they then go to the practice, they watch him there, then they watch every single one of their possessions back on the technology, and then watch them in game to make sure that they're consistent with these. And so there was a little bit of a broader point to it. It was a bad response.
Okay, so what they've done is they've realized that everybody likes Zion, so they watch some Duke, right, and some highlights. So
they're probably scouting the top 3 and 4 players because they're trying to get one of them.
I honestly think it's Zion or trade.
Yeah, somebody's got to be a buyer.
Who's not going to buy the second pick or the third pick in the draft?
No, I know, but it's just going to be about it. That doesn't mean they have to draft for who would be taken in that second pick. It's not like you're selling the player in the second pick. You're selling the pick.
Right. All right. So a team has to have a player you want. Has to have a high-level point guard or power forward.
They're spending more time scouting the actual NBA, which is what James Jones said to us in our interview on Brightside Night. He said, we're scouting NBA players this year more than we're scouting draft players.
So in theory, maybe they already have a team that has said, look, we have this high-level point guard or power forward that we're going to be willing to give you if you don't get the number 1 pick. And so they already have this trade lined up, maybe.
Well, they don't have to have a trade lined up. You know teams are going to want to trade in.
But it has to be a team with something you want, though. Just having a team that wants to trade in doesn't matter.
You're scouting. It doesn't have to be decided now. You're making it like it's all has to be decided now. It's almost like the thinking of there's no way the Knicks trade Kristaps unless they have guarantees from 2, free agents. There's no free agent that's guaranteed.
No, that's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying you don't trade the number 3 pick just for the sake of trading it. You trade it if there's a team that has something you want and also wants what you have.
Porzingis just for the sake of having cap space if you don't have a guarantee of who's going to. This is all fallacy. Yes, you do trade it.
Look, you trade the third pick.
The guy you get is worth it.
You trade the second or third pick for a guy you think you're getting, and then you realize he just has the same last name as the guy you thought you were getting. That's how this works, right?
Marshawn Brooks.
Like anything, to quote KG, anything is possible. That's where we are. I mean, literally, you might just trade the third pick for something just because you don't want to draft. Like, I don't know. Anything could happen at this point with this franchise.
Well, on that note, been a fun episode, guys.
I tried to keep lightening up the episode at different points, and you guys just kept going, oh, fuck that.
Well, the week the Suns have had, I mean, honestly, it was weird.
I wish you had more Kelly Oubre quotes because, that was the highlight of my Suns week is just hearing that quote. He's a good-looking man.
How about Josh Jackson thinking that the fine shouldn't have been public when his failure to show up at a public event was as public as it possibly gets?
No. That's not the worst part of that. His defense was basically, I've been fined numerous times this year, and you just didn't know about it.
That's what I retweeted. I was
Wait, did he say that?
You have no idea how many times I've been fined.
Did he say that?
He said, he goes, we have been fined a ton, and you guys don't know any of those, so why do you have to do this?
That's the defense. I've been bad this entire year and have been punished, but you didn't know. That's like my 2-year-old. Like, what is that?
Greg, by the way, wonderful family pictures you guys have put up. They're adorable.
Thank you.
Where?
On his Facebook.
On the Facebook.
Yeah, well, he doesn't put them up. His wife puts them up. So
yeah, because I don't want the crazies that follow me from my son's days knowing all about my family. All right.
Also they would say crap about your family just because it's social media.
Well, it is adorable. You have a wonderful family.
I bet your daughter prefers Dragonbender to Rashawn Holmes too.
Now you have a daughter and a son, right?
No, I have a daughter. I only have one child.
Wait,
Really?
Dave, don't you know this?
I'm sure you had a second kid.
My inner child is the other one I have to deal with, and that's the son.
I think you have 2 kids. Sorry, Greg.
You got to pay more attention to us, man.
You need to have time on your hands.
I have a wife, a daughter, a full-time job. You guys.
What was it? Somebody, one of our listeners tweeted us and said, you guys need to do an emergency podcast because the son's just one. And it's like, we have kids and full-time jobs. We cannot do emergency podcasts.
Those other ones from those young millennials.
Yes, that live in college dorms and can do shit. Like, we can't. We just can't.
They probably live in their parents' basement, right, Tim?
No, they're very nice guys. They're great guys, but they just happen to live different lives than we have.
I am sure Kellen has an apartment. I don't want to. He does not live in his mother's basement. Let's not say those kind of mean things about Kellen and Evan and any of the other guys. I mean,
well, that's not mean. They really do. Like, some of those guys are in college and have college roommates.
It's a financially responsible way to live.
Right. That's not a diss. I'm just saying that their lives are different than ours. They don't have a toddler in the back room screaming the whole time. It's different.
They might. It's just probably not theirs.
They're actually still up at 11 o'clock looking for something to do.
Yes. Yeah. Yes. That's not a diss. It's just we can't do it.
You know, I could if I got myself fired or something, but I'm not that dedicated to this to have no job to be able to do this. So you're lucky you get the Saturdays, all right?
I love all those guys very much. They're great at what they do. They're wonderful writers. They're wonderful podcasters, and I appreciate the products and the time and effort. And also on a serious note, because that was serious too, but shout out to Brandon Clean, who has been given a promotion over at Brightside. You want to talk about that a little bit, Dave? No.
SB Nation has a structure where, we give names to different titles and for different bloggers. And we've got manager, deputy manager, and lead voice. And Brandon Clean is now our lead voice.
Dave, if I had stuck around and actually put in effort, would I have been your lead voice?
No.
Okay, I figured that was the case. If you look at the
it's
podcast,
basically who's willing to write more articles during the week than they otherwise would if they were just doing it for the heck of it.
Oh yeah, I never would have done that for you.
Correct.
No problem. Basically, the way this works out is you look at these other podcasts, and they're very much like the Suns roster. It's a bunch of 20-somethings, and we're the veteran team.
We're the Jamal Crawford.
We're definitely the oldest, and it's not even close.
We're the guys. We're the guys like Kawhi that's just getting back-to-back nights off because we're veterans. And
we are not Kawhi. I'm Jamal Crawford in the group.
I'm Jared Dudley.
Tyler Johnson, is that what you're trying to be?
I'm Jared Dudley. I tweet a lot. I have athletic hands, but at times I'm a little doughy.
And Tim is Tyler Johnson.
There we go. He has the tattoos for it.
Yeah.
And the weird hair, so
I don't know how I feel about being compared to Tyler Johnson.
You love him.
I love him.
You said you would rather have Tyler Johnson than any other point guard.
It's perfect, Tim, because he's older than the millennials, but he's younger than the rest of the guys around.
Dude, you know that Greg and I are the same age, right? I'm 36.
I'm younger than you. I'm 35.
Right.
I'm the youngest guy here.
You guys are all just young. It's just a general haze of young.
Although, Tim, you have a much more youthful spirit than me. I am more on Dave's level of curmudgeonness.
No.
Plus,
the difference is
I've known Greg longer, so it feels like he's older.
It's 9 a.m. where I'm recording at 7 a.m. where you guys are recording. That's why I seem like I have a more youthful spirit to me. I've been up for a little bit longer.
True.
Yeah, you also had a more youthful spirit when you came out to Phoenix, and we did the Brews and Hoops night as well a few years ago, and that was at night. So no, we don't get any better during the day.
I was on vacation. Come to Florida, you'll see me in a non-vacation mode.
I'm sure it's just lovely. Mm-hmm. But I'm never coming to Florida. So
Florida's nice, dude. I live in St. Augustine. It is gorgeous here. Like, I live in a beautiful, beautiful town. The oldest city in America. It was founded by the Spaniards long before Chris Columbus, by the way. So Chris Columbus founded America. My ass. He didn't.
Okay. You literally could be talking at, like the James Jones said he watches YouTube, and I'd have no clue right now. Sure, I don't know.
We agree. Yes.
St. Augustine could have been founded 3 years ago, for all I know.
You guys should look it up. It's the oldest city in America. The fort that
You don't have to. You already told us.
Okay, the fort that I live near was the fort that they when they founded America, that they like lived it. It's really cool. The oldest school in America.
Did they use that fort to defend against Chris Columbus's band of merry men?
No, because that was way later, and he didn't. That's not even where he landed.
Right, so they'd already built their fort.
Right. You know what really bothers me is that you don't live in the fort, because you would have just become immensely cooler if you lived in a fort.
It's a cool fort if you guys ever come out here. Also, the oldest school in America is here. This little schoolhouse that you go in, and it's really neat to see.
A single room schoolhouse?
Yeah, it's really cool.
They bragged about the technology they had back then too. They were very much like James Jones. So
they may have actually called it tech back then. Did they just call it tech?
Look at this technology. It's the first whiteboard or blackboard. We can scout from here.
I live by the Fountain of Youth, by the way.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
That's why you look so young. You're actually 47 years old.
No, I look young because I've cut off my gray hair with this snazzy haircut.
Can we hijack Steve Nash and dunk him in that Fountain of Youth and bring him back then if you live near it?
Steve Nash is like, I want nothing to do with the Suns.
Yeah, can we cut this crap out now? I mean, people have really just tuned out like 10 minutes ago.
Yeah, well, it's an hour and 20. All right, so we are ending the episode. It was fun, gentlemen.
With our luck, Steve Nash would get into that Fountain of Youth. He'd get down on his knees. He'd bend over and dip his face and his torso in. But his back would not get in the water, and he would still not be able to play basketball anymore.
No, with our luck, he'd dunk his face and he'd drown in the Fountain of Youth. That's what would happen.
Only if Robert Sarver was there.
Please put us out of our misery, Tim.
All right. So Greg's going to go and record some commercials. I'm going to go and do some editing. Dave's going to... Dave, what do you do on Saturdays?
He goes
actually, today I have to go to a funeral of a coworker who died of a heart attack on Sunday night. So thanks for asking.
Jeez. I didn't think this episode could get any more morose, but I'm sorry, Dave.
You all right?
Yeah, I'm all right. It's been a tough week.
I can imagine so. Well, have a better day, and it puts the Suns in perspective.
I mean, it's true, but I think it's funny that I just completely just boom. There's no response on that one. So
what do you say?
Right.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Bye, everybody.
All right. Bye.